It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
We're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening. I hope you're doing all right. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out his website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. And as you can see, I'm donning Sal's shirt today. Underneath the other shirt, it's a little chilly up here in New York, upstate New York. I'm a little shocked. But anyway, today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Sea Palms Resort. And our next event, we're doing a Billy C get-together in August 25th and 26th. It's a two-day event. And what we're doing is we're going to have a golf outing. We're going to have some celebrities there. I know Bobby Ches, former world champion and former world cruiserweight champion, and, of course, a world heavyweight champion title challenger. He will be there along with several other people that I'm sure you're going to want to rub elbows with. We're going to have a meet and greet where you can talk with them and have some hors d'oeuvres and all of that and happy stuff. We're also going to be doing a little for fun golf tournament. And then we may be doing some other things like maybe some exhibitions, some training exhibitions from my man Sherman Henson out of Tampa, Florida. A well-renowned trainer. Also, we'll have some other fighters and celebrities there. We'll be announcing over the next few weeks. But it all takes place on Friday and Saturday, August 25th and 26th. Oh, and did I mention we will be showing the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather fight card. And one of the things I'm thinking about is having all you guys come down and we can all joke about what a farce it is and save your money and invest it in an event to hang out with us. And, of course, Sal's restaurant. You guys can come and check out why I go all the way to St. Simon's. It's going to be a great event. So best thing to do is visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click the Sea Palms banner and make your reservations right now. There are some special packages available just when you call. Just ask for the Billy C Boxing options, and they will give it to you. So we want you there. If you need any information, just drop me an email, billy@talkinboxing, August 25th and 26th. You could come earlier. I'm going to be there earlier. And today's show is being brought to us in part by my book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. You can get a copy right now where you're watching or listening to the show. Just go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. If you're looking to get a signed copy, don't worry about it. Visit our webpage, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book. Coming up a little bit later, we got a Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Boxing Commissioner, Larry Hazzard, scheduled to join us. We got the fight results from Tuesday night fights, toe-to-toe Tuesdays. I got some announcements for a fight that's been added to the Adrian Broner and Mikey Garcia card, which I like, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. Also, an update on the World Series of Boxing in the Cruiserweight division. I got some quotes from Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. All of that is coming up in a couple of minutes. We got a bunch of emails to read, but joining me right now is my partner in crime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the man, Sal Rocky Senicola. What's up, Sal?
Billy C., good morning. How are you, my friend?
Good. Jeez, that breath. I thought your microphone was going to go up your mouth with that breath. It was a deep breath you got there. It must be nice and hot down there.
It's too hot. Forget about it. I'll tell you. It's always hot here. It's like living in an oven.
I'm trying to get people to come and visit us in August. You're going to be telling them how hot and miserable it is there? Come on, man. It's nice.
No. It's beautiful. It's good for your pores.
Yeah. Yeah. Cleans them out.
I feel like I'm in a freaking steam room.
There you go. That's good, right? Good means bad. No. Bad means good. I don't know.
It's good. It's good and bad. It's all the same.
Let's not get.
I don't even have to heat my coffee. It stays hot.
There you go. That's funny. Now that's funny, Sal. Nice mug. Hey, if you want a mug like Sal's donning right now, he makes them custom. The Billy C. mugs. Yeah, he's got a couple of versions of them available.
Presley raising a lip kind of.
Was that a new one? Was that a new one or what?
Huh?
Is that a different one?
It's a different face, but it's the same size mug.
But you had a bigger mug. You had
not the same size.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And then I've got the premium edition.
Yeah, I knew you had
the man, myth, the legend.
Right.
The other side is the big.
Yeah, all right. I knew that you had. So you got three now.
You got three all over the place.
Yeah,
man.
He's got Billy C.
I'm selling these left and right all over the island. People know you.
Billy C. mugs available exclusively at Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria. So get yourself one.
The guy goes, "Hey, what a mug that is!"
Yeah, you go. Hey, you should see him in person. Hey, but anyway. Last night on Toe to Toe Tuesdays, in a rematch, Miguel Cruz against Alex Martin ended a little more decisively than the previous fight. But both Sal and I had picked Miguel Cruz to win. I based it on the fact that he had a little more pop behind his punches, and he won. Miguel Cruz improved to 16-0 with 11 knockouts when he scored a 10-round unanimous decision, as opposed to the first time when it was a split decision over Alex Martin, who only loses for the second time in his career, dropping to 13-2 with 5 knockouts, and both losses came at the hands of Miguel Cruz. The way the judges scored it, 96-92 across the board. So this was a no doubt win for Miguel Cruz. I love seeing two young fighters go at it at the same point in their careers. These two guys on paper looked very similar all across the board. Height, reach, age, level of opposition, everything. I loved the matchup, Sal. What's your quick thoughts on that being the main event for Toe to Toe Tuesdays?
I think it was 100% appropriate. It was a good fight, competitive fight. And, they were both in a pocket. They were both exchanging blows. Cruz, as you suggested, did have the heavier pop. I believe he dropped Martin, and decisively with some good shots, a good left hook here and there. And, I thought it was a good fight. Good fight.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Also, on the televised portion, welterweight Clarence Booth improved to 15-3 when he scored a fourth-round stoppage over Anthony Mercado, who drops to 10-3 with 9 knockouts. And also, in a fight that saw many knockdowns in the featherweight division, Avery Sparrow improved to 7-1 when he scored a 6-round unanimous decision over previously unbeaten Islian Florian, who drops to 6-1 with 3 knockouts, 58-54 with the way all 3 judges scored the fight. What I enjoyed about this fight is both of these fighters showed that not only they have punching power, but they have a lot of heart and determination, because both of them hit the canvas not once but twice. So exciting night of boxing for the Tuesday night fights, toe-to-toe Tuesday, Sal.
Absolutely. And I was watching that Cruz Martin fight. They were toe-to-toe. They were exchanging and defending each other with themselves with good exchanges.
Well, what I really liked about that fight, aside from the fact that both fighters were young, at the same level, et cetera, like I said before, was the fact that they fought each other again, that they gave each other a rematch. And, they both had something to prove going into this fight. Both fighters felt they won the first fight. Obviously, in the record books, Miguel Cruz got the win. But, Alex Martin felt that, he was robbed, and wanted to make a statement and came up a little short. So, anyway, some great action last night. But something else I wanted to talk about, Sal. We got a pretty decent fight coming up. Adrian Broner and Mikey Garcia. And, I had some quotes from Broner. And he said, I'm feeling good. I'm taking this fight serious. I want to show that I'm still one of the best out there. He says, this is the time for me to step up. And basically he was saying the reason why he didn't look that good in his last fight is because he broke his hand. He said, I don't know if any of you have ever broken your hand, just to give you an idea what I was up against. It's a typical, I don't want to make an excuse, but here comes the excuse. But the best part is that they announced that they're adding 2 more fights on that undercard, one being Jermall Charlo. He's taking on Jorge Sebastian Hyland in an elimination bout. That doesn't impress me, that fight. It doesn't impress me that it's an elimination bout. And to be honest with you, the Charlo brothers don't really impress me all that much right now because they haven't really been in there with fighters that are equal to them in terms of size and everything else. But we'll see. I think they're both talented, but Jermall Charlo will be on the card. But the fight that I'm really excited about is in the heavyweight division, 2 young fighters fighting each other in the heavyweight division. And this is what I believe boxing is all about and what it's been lacking over the last several years. We have Gerald Washington, who's a former world title challenger, if you recall. He actually challenged Deontay Wilder, another one of Deontay Wilder layup fights. But he's 18-1-1 with 12 knockouts, taking on Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who's been crying like a crybaby, saying he's ready to take on everybody, can beat Joshua, can beat Deontay Wilder, everybody. He's 18-0 with a draw. It's going to be a 10-round matchup, and I love the fact that these 2 guys are fighting each other. This is how you weed out the contenders from the pretenders, Sal. Everybody pounds on their chest and says they're good, but none of them fight similar fights, against similar fighters. This one is going to be a big awakening for one of these guys in the heavyweight division. What's your thoughts?
I think you're absolutely right. And, it's about time. And they put 2 fighters together, and they want to see who's going to put up or shut up. And there's a great way to find out who could weed through the maze and become victorious.
Also, I just want to add real quick before we get to our main topic today, Marco Captain Hook, who I thought was one of the best, if not, I thought he was the best cruiserweight in the world up until last couple of fights. But he has been added to that World Boxing Super Series, which is featuring the cruiserweights, which is making this series very impressive. And I tell you the truth, between now Marco Captain Hook, former pretty much undisputed. I mean, everybody looked at him as the champion at one time. He's now 40 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. He also fared pretty well against Povetkin in a heavyweight challenge when he did that. He's got a record of 40 wins, 4 losses, a draw with 27 knockouts. He's added and already signed his reigning world champions Murat Gassiev, Junior Dorticos, and Marius Briedis, all holding title belts. And then Krzysztof Lazarek, who's a former world champion. So I'm excited about this tournament, Sal. It's really coming out nicely right now. There's going to be no doubt that the best of the best in the cruiserweight division are all putting it on the line in this tourney.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's doing a lot for the cruiserweight division, which we tend to see does not get the attention of the heavyweights or even the light heavyweights, I believe, in my mind. So I definitely think that this is going to be a great process, a good elimination process, and weed out some of the good fighters, and we'll see who emerges as a great fighter.
One other thing I wanted to add before we take a quick break, and then I want to comment on my topic, one of my main topics today. Diego De La Hoya, which is the relative of former multi-division world champion and current promoter Oscar De La Hoya, will be fighting in Argentina. Now, he's 18-0 with 9 knockouts, and he's taking on Alan Lucius, who's 21-6 in a 10-round fight on Saturday. The reason why I like this fight is because I think that Diego De La Hoya has not really he's not really been in there tough, and I think they know that he's got a long way to go. I think he's in there. I think he's going to get tested this week. Might be a pretty good indicator of where he's at, but I still think this guy needs a lot of work, Sal. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, and I think you definitely should be progressing along and taking on some tougher and tougher competition and fighters with good records, and I think this is part of the process that he's ready to step up or step out.
Yeah, no, I mean he definitely needs to improve. I mean, he needs to improve. The name alone isn't going to get him wins, but
forget about it. And if you thought that, maybe early on it's going to have more eyes on him, but with that same thought, he's going to be under the microscope just like he is right now. The guy's got to step up a little bit and increase the level of his competition.
Yeah, well, he's got to get better. He's got to get better. But
yeah,
listen, my topic today is basically this. With Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn being broadcast on ESPN, which is for all intent and purposes considered free TV today, because you get ESPN with pretty much any package you get with television today.
I should be able to get that in a restaurant, no?
Yeah, you should. And
wow.
my question today is, with the move of Manny Pacquiao going to network television, in a sense, free TV, let's refer to it as free TV, is this the beginning of major boxing events being moved to free TV? Will it become the norm and not the exception? Hold that thought, because when we come back from break, we're going to get Sal's thought on that. And I think it's a pretty good question. So we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts!
Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. Don't forget, if you take the time to drop me an email, I'll take the time to read it on air. Billy at Talkin' Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com is how you get an email to us. And don't forget, man, we are very excited about the next Billy C. event we're doing. The Billy C. get-together down on beautiful St. Simon's Island at the Sea Palms Resort, taking place August 25th and 26th. We want you there. 2 full days of fun in the sun down in St. Simon's, and you get to stuff your face at my man Sal's place. And joining me right now is Sal, and for all the information, just call Sea Palms. You can get their number and everything else by visiting our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Sea Palms banner. Sal, before we went to break, Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn are going to be on regular TV this weekend on ESPN. And, we got Oscar De La Hoya's got to deal with ESPN. And, it just seems like there's this movement happening with regular television that we can possibly start to see major boxing events, not just the slubs fighting, but the major boxing events on network television. Do you think this is an exception with Pacquiao-Horn, or is there a movement? Is there something that's changing in the wind that's going to start to find major boxing on, free TV as the norm and not the exception?
Well, I will tell you this. I think for the mega fights, you're still going to see that having to be paid for and everything else. But I think there's also a slight attention-grabbing moments where there's going to be some good, solid fights and big fights returning to major networks and TV. And I'll tell you what, don't be surprised if a lot of this attention, a lot of this could have started with the Al Heyman movement, with the PBC, and seeing the success, maybe not in the numbers or volume or revenue that's being raised, but in the success of the feedback from the boxing fans' standpoint. And I know I'm spewing a lot of different directions there, but I think that could have been a little bit of the core influencing, hey, guess what? We have this capsule, this model. Let's see if we could put it and arrange it in a way that everyone can benefit. So don't be surprised. You may see more and more major fights, not mega fights, but major fights on network TV.
Well, you make a great point, Sal.
I know I do.
But here's the big difference, at least with what I know about the deals that are happening right now. When Al Heyman and the PBC was put on, regular television, all those networks, what he did was he actually paid the networks, yes, for their time, similar to the way some radio networks work. You pay for the time; they don't care what you put on. And Al Heyman's, and none of us know this for sure because he's so tight-lipped, but it seemed like he was trying to develop a following, a viewer base, and then he was going to come back and offer the same networks his produced series and have them pay for it. And he learned a valuable lesson with the way television stations and networks work. They don't like to pay for nothing. They'll put whatever they want on if you're paying them for the time. I think what's happening now is with ESPN specifically, that they did not have boxing on for a long time. I mean, here we were used to watching every Friday night boxing events, whether the events weren't great or not, but people tuned in. They had their regular sponsors, whatever. Now, I will tell you this, ESPN wasn't making tons of money with it, but they definitely had a viewer base, and they got a lot of cross platform viewers. In other words, other sports fans that were tuned into the network anyway were watching, Friday night fights. when they jumped into bed with Al Heyman and let Al Heyman pay for some of it, I don't think it worked out as well for all the parties. I don't think it worked. It obviously didn't work out well for Al Heyman because he would still be doing it. He didn't get the money from the networks. He certainly didn't get the money from the advertisers, and it's kind of slowed down a bit. Although he still does it. He Premier Boxing Champions was the fights last night. Was the toe-to-toe Tuesday. So he's still doing it, and he's got the marriage with Showtime. So it's not like PBC isn't doing anything. I mean, he's still got all the fighters, but I think what's happening now is that the ESPN sees some advantages to not having, that regular series on Fridays. But I think they see the light at the end of the tunnel for having these bigger events. And I think that we're going to start to see them more and more, Sal. And I think it's good for all of us.
I think you're 100% right. And, ESPN got away from their original model. In fact, I made my original pro debut on the undercard of Alexis Arguello, which was televised on ESPN out of the Sands Casino, and Al Bernstein was commentating, and this was a regular ESPN fight, and so it was big back then, and I think they got away from it for a little while, and Top Rank, and that was definitely a big thing back then, and maybe ESPN recognized the model to resurrect and give us some big fights on their network.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
It makes sense. It does. I mean, because what it is, it's like bait fishing. Here comes an analogy. Look out, everyone! Put your seatbelts on. It's like chumming. We're gonna tease the public, the boxing fan. Not tease them, but I mean, we're gonna feed them. We're gonna give them little bits, little pieces here, and for the fights that'll keep them interested and keep following the game. And then all of a sudden, when a mega fight comes up, hey, why not? We're fight fans. We'll spring the bucks.
Well, it's all about the bucks, and I think
it's all about the bucks. The buck stops there.
Where? All about I don't know, bucks. But not here. And I think that ESPN is finding a way where they can benefit from it, because what's happening with these events, see, here's the big difference with ESPN. ESPN used to promote their fights. They used to produce their fights, Friday night fights. They used to foot the bill, and it was a losing proposition. I think with some of these bigger fights, they're not really doing the production. The production's already being done. They're just getting a feed, so to speak. Now, with the Golden Boy marriage with ESPN, Teddy Atlas is involved, so there's some kind of a split there. But I don't believe, unless I'm wrong, Sal, I don't believe that Teddy Atlas and the ESPN crew is actually calling the fights from the land down under. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll be in studio, because that fight is being offered outside the U.S. as a pay-per-view and everything else. So, I'm not 100% sure. I got to look into that. Do you know that for sure?
No, but I think they would have, whether they are the main or major broadcast team, I'm not sure, but I think they'd be a sub for the American viewers here too. So I think they're going to have something big to do with it.
No, well, then they would have to produce it, and I just don't see them doing that. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I had some quotes from Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. The complete broadcast. ESPN announced that they're going to have 4 fights. Irish Olympian Michael Conlon is on that card, and also a champion in the IBF in the junior bantamweight division. Jerwin Anakias is on. He's defending his title. And Sugar Shane Mosley's son, who has quietly amassed a record of 10-1, is going to be fighting. So we'll see how that card goes. Just before I take a break, I'll give you some quotes here. The promoter, they were doing some press conferences yesterday in Australia, and the co-promoter, obviously the main promoter is Top Rank, but the co-promoter from Duco Events, his name is Dean Lonergan, and Lonergan is getting a little fed up with Manny Pacquiao. He says, and I quote, "I've attended 4 press conferences with Manny, and he never gets off his bloody phone. I hope he takes the phone into the ring with him, and she'll be game over. And Horn commented, he said, I can't imagine him doing that at a Mayweather press conference. It definitely shows a bit of he doesn't care attitude towards this fight. I don't know if it's that or arrogance. I'm just used to that now. It gave me a laugh when Dean called him out on it. It was funny. His face, meaning Pacquiao's, looked like he didn't know what to do. It does seem like they're taking this fight lightly. We talked about this yesterday. Manny Pacquiao said, we really have had a good camp, and we have a good game plan for this fight. We've worked hard in camp, both in Manila and in General Santos City. I'm totally focused for this fight. I'm not looking past this fight because at this point in my career, every fight's important. There are no tomorrows if I don't win. Jeff Horn is okay. I've watched videos of his fights. He brings a lot of action in the ring. It sounds to me that he's taking it lightly. And normally I never, ever, ever quote what the trainers say, but, because Freddie Roach. But here's the but. Freddie Roach says, Manny's in great shape. He doesn't like to predict knockouts, but I do. This is going to be a short and sweet fight. If Horn comes out like he says he's going to, Manny's going to fire back, and I think it's going to be a great fight, but it's not lasting too long. Someone will get knocked out. The thing is, in sparring, we haven't had knockouts or knockdowns in a long time. This time we have. Manny has been his old self, having fun, and doing what he does best. And my question is, doing what he does best, what's that, talking on his cell phone, Sal?
Hey, I'll tell you what. He's a congressman, so who knows? Those were very important political calls, right?
Well, I don't know.
He could say that.
I think
country needs him.
I think when he was on the phone, basically he said, I hurt my shoulder. I really hurt my shoulder. So anyway, hey, listen, Sal, we will be getting back to you in a little bit. We're going to take a short break. We're scheduled to have Larry Hazzard come on. So go fill up your coffee, and we'll see you in a little bit. All right,
buddy.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have Larry Hazzard on. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Tell me, Kenny, how is it you rub my belly so fine with that secret rub of yours? And don't even tell me what you're gonna do next. I love you, Kenny Bear. Tell me, Kenny baby, what you gonna do next?
Kenny Bear's Old Florida Barbecue Rub and Seasoning. Grab a bottle today.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS. Look, I know you want to keep ignoring those letters, but the problem isn't going away. It's really stressful, and you don't know where to turn.
The good news is you have rights, and we can help resolve your IRS problems.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, our qualified CPAs, tax negotiators, and support staff know the law and know how to get your situation under control legally and permanently.
Call the number on your screen now and we will contact the IRS on your behalf, help you end wage garnishments, stop collection calls, remove tax liens, get rid of IRS and state tax penalties, and reduce the amount you owe if you qualify. You wouldn't go to fix your car without going to a mechanic, so why face the IRS without an experienced company that can help you?
Let us take the stress of back taxes and the IRS off your shoulders so you can spend time on the important things in your life, like your family or your business. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, call now and find out how we can help you.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a $1 million bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin? Acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts from happening. Don't miss this limited time offer. Give us a call at 800-567-0214 because we're going to let 1 million people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts and also receive free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. So call Proactive Plus now and you'll receive a 60-day risk-free trial of Proactive Plus, 2 free extras, and free shipping. Call 800-567-0214. This is our exclusive radio offer, never on TV. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive Plus with free shipping. That's right, free shipping. Don't wait. Call 800-567-0214. That's 800-567-0214.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And don't forget about our big event, 2-day event, Billy C. Get Together down in St. Simons Island in Georgia. It's going to be August 25th and 26th. Golfing and fun. And, of course, we will be watching the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight. And that's why you guys got to come down so we can all be critical of that fight together. Joining me right now is my main man, and I hope that he comes down, man. Larry Hazzard joins us. What's up, Larry?
What's up, Billy?
We got to get you to come down there. What are you doing for that fight? Are you going to be anywhere?
What are you talking about, McGregor and
Well, yeah, I know. I shouldn't have referred to it as a fight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I had to ask.
Yeah, no. That extravaganza, that WWE. See, that's the whole thing, man. We decided to do this event down in St. Simons in Georgia. It's an island, one of the Golden Isles there, and we're gonna have like a golf outing. Bobby Ches is going to be coming. We've got some other people come down. You should, you know what? I'm going to talk to you about that. Maybe you should come on down. That would be fun, you know?
Well, maybe the fun part, the fight, or whatever you want to call it, Billy. You know, I'm really, really still out on whether I'm even going to watch that.
Well, this is my point. Most people that are boxing fans don't want to watch it. But if we're all together being critical, and we're having other things that are interesting us, like we're going to be doing that other series that we've been working on, the Boxing Revisited. We'll be doing that. We'll have some meet and greets. So it'll be a boxing theme. So we're going to try to insert boxing for that joke of a matchup. So and let's face it, it'll be much better talking to people like Ray Mercer and yourself and whoever else is coming down. I know Bobby Ches, Sherman Henson is going to be there, so it ought to be interesting. I'll give you all the skinny on that off air, but and I apologize. I keep meaning to send you a setup so we can have your mug on here while we're talking to you, and I got to get. We'll get around. I get it.
No problem.
But listen, today's topic is kind of along the lines of something that you and I have talked about many, many times, and I'm starting to see a little switch, maybe, and it starts with the fight this weekend between Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, all of a sudden being broadcast on ESPN, and Golden Boy's got their deal with ESPN, and it's separate than the groundwork that Al Heyman and the PBC laid in place with buying all the time on the networks. Well, now the networks seem to be, specifically ESPN, seems to be picking some of these fights to broadcast. Do you think that we're heading towards seeing major, not just, club shows, but major boxing events on what I'm going to call free TV? Do you think that's heading to become the norm instead of the exception? Or do you think that this is just a rare case with the fight scheduled for this weekend on ESPN?
Well, I think that it might be heading towards becoming the norm again. And I think it's all the reason that may be the case is because maybe someone is beginning to see that what today's pay-per-view really is not pay-per-view, and that it really should be free. Because I still, I buy the majority of them only because of it's work related.
Right.
But in my opinion, nowhere does it compare to what a pay-per-view event should be. I mean, what fights? You get one or two fights that you might consider, oh, this is worth paying for, okay? So I think maybe some of the suits are beginning to see, and I think that they're feeling it probably in their wallets also. You know, not as many people are buying these so-called pay-per-view events, and so it probably is a good deal to just put it on free TV until some of the real pay-per-view talent begins to emerge again. In what era, I don't know, but I don't see too many real pay-per-view fights out there, even right now. You know, when you look at Ward and Kovalev. I mean, was that really pay-per-view? You know what I'm saying? I've seen better. Okay, I've seen better, and so I think it's just becoming more and more the norm now, Billy, for a variety of reasons.
Well, I think
it's a good idea.
I think they're almost being forced to, because you're right.
Yeah.
You know, people don't want to shell out the coin anymore for an anticlimactic fight. I mean, you know, we all saw that when Floyd and Manny fought. You know, it was a fight that we were drooling over for 6 years. And finally it happens, and I think the last guy, they just woke him up in the audience and made him leave the venue, you know? So, I mean, it was definitely sad, you know, and it set pay-per-views back. But basically what you're saying is let's go back to the future, because that's what it used to be like. You know, when there was a pay-per-view event, you know, in the 80s, and I hate to always go back to the 80s, but when there were, you know, it wasn't just the main event. You had three other fights that were all significant. I mean, you know, you could pick the fight that you wanted to be the main event, really, and it could have carried the pay-per-view, and that's what made it so exciting. You know, like when we've talked, where you get a bunch of buddies, you come over, you're watching a fight with friends. Now it's like, you know, you're a boxing fan and you're alienating. You got to sneak about talking it. You know, I mean, we're in the business, so we're talking about it more. But most people that go to their work environment, you know, it's very rare to find someone else that's a diehard boxing fan. They might find the Monday morning guy after the major event talking about it. But I think if they bring it back to network television or free TV, in ESPN's case, that it will certainly help.
Yeah, and like you say, Back to the Future is a very good way of putting it. And again, to kind of springboard off what you're saying, you're a boxing fan and you're asking, well, who's fighting? Okay, you know, back in the and going back to the 80s and et cetera, that's our frame of reference, because those were the great pay-per-view events. And again, like you said, you would have the main event, and the so-called undercard on the pay-per-view would be equal to major pay-per-view today. So, you know, nobody had to ask who was fighting back then. Are you going to watch the fight? Oh, man, I won't miss it. Everybody knew. But now you don't even know. I mean, you know. So
what's worse,
I think it's a good thing, too.
What's worse is you may not know who's fighting, and the worst part is even when somebody tells you never heard of the guys, you're like, well, where are they from, you know? But anyway, a couple of, like last night, there was the Toe-to-Toe Tuesdays, the Premier Boxing Champion Series. And what I like with that, and another fight I'm going to throw at you, you know, you saw Miguel Cruz get a rematch with Alex Martin, which is, first of all, a rarity in today's sport, which was the norm back in the day. And, you know, I mean, these two guys fought before in a close fight that could have gone either way, and they were both man enough to step in there and fight each other again. This time, Miguel Cruz, you know, won more decisively. But what impressed me about it is when you look at these two fighters, Larry, and you dissect it, they were very similar. They were almost the same age, almost the same height, fought in the same division their entire careers, fought similar opposition, you know, collectively, combined records and stuff. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, oh, man, this is exactly how boxing needs to get back to. When you get to a certain plateau, 10, 12, 13 fights, you want to be fighting other guys like that so that the better guy moves forward and eventually becomes a contender. That's been an exception today. What we see is a guy 13, 16 and 0 or whatever fighting a 4 and 9 guy, and we, it's like I was talking about Diego De La Hoya earlier. Here's a guy with an impressive record, but he hasn't improved because he hasn't fought anybody that's that great. What's your thoughts of getting these types of fights back as the norm?
Yeah, well, and then you have in the Cruz and Martin fight, you had the guy, the fight was kind of like very evenly matched. The records are very similar. I think one Cruz where we have like maybe 15, 16 fights, he's undefeated, I think, and the other kid, he only lost 1 or 2 fights. So and they fought a close one. As I recall, when they fought before, was that kind of like maybe like a split decision? It was real close.
Yeah, it was a split decision. That's why I loved this fight, because you not only are they equal in all the statistics, but you got Martin, who lost the fight, feeling he won the fight and felt he had something to prove, and the guy who won figures, well, wow, that fight was too close. I got something to prove, and they fight. I mean, today, very rarely do you see, I was critical of Mayweather not too long ago, saying, he was very limited at rematches. He only gave 2 in his whole career. And of course, you get the fans that respond saying, "Well, he's so good, he doesn't have to give a rematch." And I think that's such a lame answer, because if you have a fight against someone that was decent, not that he had many challenging fights, but if you are a fighter and you do get in a tough scrap, you should do a rematch. I mean, the fans want to see it, and doesn't the fighters want to prove that they are the better guy? I mean, is that what's lacking today, you think?
Yes. But once again, you have so many other variables involved with these guys today. Everybody wants to protect their records. That big 0 means so much. Back then, the great fighters. Many of the great fighters' matchups made careers out of fighting each other. Think about some of the crazy stuff, what appears to be crazy, but some of the great fighters who fought 5 and 6 times. You know what I mean? Each of them, they gave it their all. And they accepted the challenge. They wanted to prove that they're the best. And the best always wants to fight the best. And if that's the same guy, and we got to fight over and over, as long as the fans are satisfied, they did it.
Right.
But, today they cherry pick, they want to protect that, 15 and 0, 20 and 0, as long as that 0 is on the other end, they don't care. Even today, look at how things, Billy, I hate to always be saying years ago, but that's the only way you can make a valid argument for your points, okay? The point is that, once upon a time, you really would have a fight, and you're saying, gee, there would be arguments about, well, who's going to win? Today, don't you really almost know who's going to win a fight?
Right.
They even have it now, the red corner, the blue corner, all the winners coming out in the red corner. You know what I mean? You're sitting there watching this stuff, and you're saying, how ridiculous have we gotten? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
so,
when
stuff needs to change.
When 2 guys would go to a fight, I remember fight, and I go with a buddy or a couple buddies or whatever, we would have friendly bets. Okay, who you get to pick the fighter you're going to win this time. And you would actually have a 50-50 shot. I'll take the guy in the red corner. You never heard of him. I'll take the guy in the red corner. I'll take the guy in the blue. Now, you're exactly right. The corner that's going to win. It's the same corner all night long. And if somebody else wins out of the opposite corner, it was an upset, But just to follow what you said, great fighters throughout the history of the sport. And I do believe eventually this is going to catch up with Floyd Mayweather. I think, and I hope, because, remember something. It's not all the fighter's fault about the O. I think that what's happened is the promoters and the networks felt that they couldn't promote and sell fighters that weren't undefeated. I think the value in the O came from the lack of knowledge from the fan base, the young fan base who bought into the O, and thought that equals quality and greatness, etc. I think eventually, if that attitude changes, if it doesn't change, then Floyd will be looked upon as the greatest. I saw him on ESPN yesterday saying the greatest fighter of all time, the best ever. Pound for pound,
wow,
Floyd Mayweather. And listen, the guy, you can make a very strong case that he's the best of his era. I mean, but the greatest of all time, the best ever. I mean, that can't be. And if people are saying that and they're believing it, well, then maybe they're never going to look at the truth. But anyway. Like I said, I don't blame the O so much on the fighters. I blame it on the networks and promoters. But my point was this, Larry. Great fighters in the history, like you mentioned, fighting a fighter a bunch of times. Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta is a great example.
Yes.
Sugar Ray Robinson, Gene Fulmer, another great example. Yeah, and of course, Muhammad Ali. Think about the dance partners he had. He had Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Kenny Norton, and then the other guys that he fought a couple of times, like Chuvalo and some of the other great heavyweights of the era, Ron Lyle and Jimmy Young. I mean, he had so many other dance partners that he could fight and win and be elevated to great. I just don't understand how fans can look at a guy, look at a record, and it could be any fighter, not, I'm not saying specifically Mayweather, but any fighter, and say, oh, he's good because of his record. I mean, you see it all the time when you get a guy from, on the other side of the pond coming over, and nobody knows who he is, but he must be good because he's 26-0. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's how they sell the fights. And again, a lot of that is the fault of the promoters, the networks, etc. That's how they've been selling the fights, and it has become fashionable. And the fans, I can't convince my grandson that Floyd Mayweather, he's undefeated. He's 49-0. I can't convince him. I can't make him understand. You can't even get in depth into what greatness entails, and how other fighters who weren't undefeated were still great fighters. They just throw it back at you. Well, he lost 5 fights. You know what I mean? Yeah. He lost 5 times. He didn't lose at all. The arguments are based on that. And that is a result of the promotion of this, invincible fighter, because he has never lost a fight, So, that's what we're up against. And over time, I think that it will change, because if the quality is not there, eventually people are going to begin to understand that a great fighter, is more than someone who has never lost a fight.
Oh, listen, I get into that argument all the time. The same one you have with your grandson. And I always say, they say to me, oh, who do you think's the greatest fighter of all time? And it's an easy answer for me. I say Sugar Ray Robinson. And they go, oh, yeah, he's not. And I said, why do you say that? They said, well, he lost double-digit fights. He lost, almost 20 fights. And I'm like, yeah, but don't you understand that? First of all, he was fighting at 40 years old, and a lot of those losses came. And I said, don't look at how many times he fought. He had over 200 fights. And they go, well, Mayweather is undefeated. Plus, he made a lot of money. So that's the answer I get all the time, that he's undefeated, he's never been beaten, and he's made a lot of money. And the other thing is, they go, fighters can't touch. And this is the other answer. They can't touch him. He's such a defensive marvel. And I say, listen, I go, Floyd is great defensively. But, and then they tell me what the definition of sweet science is. Oh, hit and not get hit. And I say, yeah, but you forget the last line. You're supposed to hit and not get hit, but still be in position to inflict damage on your opponent. Floyd isn't. When he can't be hit, he can't hit his opponent because he's on the other side of the ring. That's not master. That's not defensive master. But anyway, it is what it is. He's definitely the best fighter of his generation. You can spin it any way you want, but when you start saying the best ever and everything, it's not fair to the other fighters, and it's not really fair to Floyd because nobody's invented a time machine where we could send him back to have him fight one of these guys, if he even would. That's the whole other question, But,
right.
You never know if there was only one guy that Sugar Ray Robinson never wanted to fight, and that was Charlie Burley. And it was more because he knew that Burley's style was so hard that he didn't want to look stupid in there, and that was the reason, But one other thing I wanted to mention real quick along the lines of maybe we're starting to see a turn, to go back to the way it was. They announced that a heavyweight fight that's going to be on the undercard of Adrian Broner, Mikey Garcia, Gerald Washington against Jarrell Miller. Now, I'm not saying both of these guys or either of these guys are superstars, Larry, but what I like about this fight is that they're fighting each other. They're both similar in records and size and all of this. And I'm wondering if you think we're starting to see not only a change of maybe getting better fights on free TV, but are we starting to see the break in what you and I are complaining about right now? Are fighters finally realizing that they got to step up and fight real fights to gain a fan base? And if you lose against a good fighter, there's nothing wrong with that. You just get better and fight again.
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think that the fighters are beginning to realize that. Not only that, Billy, I think that the fighters are also beginning to realize that when they fight against greater competition, they learn and get better, and they're more appreciated by the fans, and they develop. In many cases, they develop a quicker fan base by accepting these greater challenges, win or lose, as long as they look good. That's the way the trend. And they come back and they put in a good performance, and they're going to win. They're going to win a lot of fights along the way. Okay, I think that's a trend. It's going to be slow, but I think that it's going to take hold eventually. I think that's what we're beginning to see.
I think you're right, and I think that Kell Brook had something to do with that. Here's a guy that lost his last two fights, but gained popularity because of the way that he showed that he's not afraid to take on challenges, win, lose, or draw, and people seem to appreciate that. Real fight fans appreciate that. And in the last fight, he was smart enough to know that it was over for him, and he didn't have to prove anything to anybody. And I was very critical of the fans that were calling him a quitter for knowing that he can fight another day if he stops now and may never see again if he didn't. You know what I mean?
Well, you're going to always have brave fans. You got brave fans, you got brave referees, you got brave cornermen, okay? But the real fans, the real fight fans, the real seasoned guys, they understand. Hey, listen, you're not in there taking the punishment. The guy gave it his all. He didn't dog it. He wasn't looking for a way out, but he realized that it's better for him to maybe, say, okay, I'll give in this time, but I'll be back. People appreciate that as long as they get their money's worth. And I think that's the way the trend is going now. And I welcome it.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those type of guys,
No, and it's what the sport is about. You start off, you become a pro, you work yourself into labeled a prospect, then you work into contention, then you work for a title. That's the way it should be. You earn it. And the worst part about it, Larry, and I know you see this firsthand, when you got a kid in the gym and you're trying to give him advice and you tell him to work hard, keep your nose clean, do what you got to do, work hard, and it will pay off. And the kid does just that. And then he sees another fighter in the gym who might have some financial backing, and the kid doesn't work as hard, doesn't fight as tough fights, and he's the guy getting the shot. it has to be depressing, and it must turn a lot of young fighters away. And, what do you tell a kid when you're telling him to do the right thing and the system is failing him? It's hard.
Yeah, but that's life. When that's the key term, the system. It's like any other job. You work hard on a job, you've earned the right for the promotion, but because of the system, somebody knows somebody or whatever, they get the promotion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just something that you have to contend with in life. But it's very true what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, listen, Larry, I appreciate it, the time, and obviously next week we'll be talking about the outcome of Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn, which I'm sure we know. I'm sure we could probably talk. We could have talked about the fight today if we wanted, but we'll wait till after it actually happens. But hopefully we got some other good news to talk about, and we'll look forward to that.
Okay, Billy. I'll see you.
Hey, by the way, speaking of that, next week is the 4th of July. We are doing a show. Are you going to still be available?
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds good. Sounds good, my man. All right. Well, you have a good one, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, Billy.
All right, brother. Take care. That's Larry Hazzard, Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Commissioner. I'm going to reach out and tell Larry what the deal is for our event. Hopefully, he'll have some time to come on down in August, and that would be great for you guys to meet Larry Hazzard, not only the International Boxing Hall of Famer, but also he's in several other halls of fame, including the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame and the newly formed Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. So, and this is a guy that knows the sport inside and out. You know how I'm always talking about boxing people, how the sport needs boxing people. Well, Larry Hazzard is one of the positives of boxing because he's a boxing guy. And he's involved in the sport. We need, they should have, not to get off topic, but they should have a prerequisite for anybody that's a commissioner or any position in the sport of boxing, whether you're a judge, a referee, or even a cornerman. I'm convinced that cornermen should have to undergo some type of training before they can become a cornerman, rather than just pay a seconds fee and poof, you're a trainer, We need boxing people. We don't need rah-rah men, and we don't need people that have money in their checking account and can get into the sport. Larry Hazzard is a true boxing guy, and the sport is better with having him. So we're going to try and get him to be with us in August. But anyway, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I will have Sal back on the line. And we got some other stuff to talk about, so don't go nowheres.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. Glad you could be with us. And I'm going to keep saying it till you make your reservation. Don't forget, we're doing a Billy C get-together in August 25th and 26th at the Sea Palms, the beautiful Sea Palms Resort down on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. So make sure you make your plans right now. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com. And click on the Sea Palms banner, which you can't miss. It's right there on the right-hand side. And speaking about can't miss, when you come down to St. Simon's, we're all going to go to Sal's, man. And Sal's going to make us some pizza and then some, right, brother?
Absolutely. I can't wait. And you know what? I heard this segment, and I would love it if Larry Hazzard will come down. I love Larry, and let me tell you, I was talking about Larry last night. It's so funny because I have Larry, a picture of Larry refereeing one of my bouts on the wall, and I was pointing out some people, and someone asked, well, who was the referee there? I said, that's the one and only, very famous and respected Larry Hazzard, who's the commissioner of Jersey and IBF and all this other stuff there. So, I mean, it was great. Larry's had a stellar career, and I would love to see Larry again.
Larry's a class act, and I'm sure we can get him to come down. But anyway, we got some emails to read. But first, let me get everyone caught up on some Major League Baseball scores, if you're interested. Nationals over the Cubs 6-1. The Rays beat the Pirates in 10 innings, 4-2. The Orioles over the Blue Jays 3-1. The Red Sox topped the Twins 9-2. Rangers over the Indians 2-1. Tigers over the Royals 5-3. The Reds beat the Brewers 8-6. The Marlins beat up on the hapless Mets. The Mets cannot beat the Marlins, so it is what it is. Marlins 6, Mets 3. One thing I will mention about the Mets, unfortunately, that I'm a fan, but more than that, Ron Darling was pretty pissed off, and all these injuries that are happening to the Mets. It just seems a little funny, and one of his comments were, they brought in this, guy to help them train, and he's got them all doing weights and all of this stuff, and he's calling them a musclehead, and he's right. In certain sports, boxing is one of them, weightlifting and stuff has to be done very carefully, and baseball, obviously, Yoenis Cespedes ripping his leg apart, rounding the bases, all their pitches going down with arm injuries and all of this stuff. To have too much muscle sometimes is not good in sports that, you need to use, the body parts. Like as pitchers, too much muscle means there's not enough tendon to hold everything together. Same thing in boxing. And I'm glad that Ron Darling put this guy on notice, because it's true. The Mets have really failed us, the fan base. Anyway, the Mets suck. White Sox topped the Yankees 4-3. The A's over the Astros 6-4. The Diamondbacks over the Cardinals in 10 innings 6-5. Phillies beat up on the Mariners 8-2. The Dodgers keep winning. Thank God they're my second favorite team, man. Because they were from Brooklyn. They haven't been in Brooklyn in 150 years practically, but I still like them. Dodgers 4, Angels nothing, Braves 3, Padres zip. And the Giants and the Rockies, 14-inning game. Giants finally winning a game 4-3. So some tough stuff. And I know you're pretty adamant, Sal, about too much weight training, especially in boxing, right?
Oh, of course. And when you're weight training, you've got to be very, very careful. You've got to stretch the muscles before, maybe during, and after your training. And I was a big believer in the Nautilus concept of weight training. And Nautilus had a different approach, strengthening the positive and the negative aspects of the muscle tissue with the contractions. And I stretched. I did very well with Nautilus. It kept me strong and solid. And, you said something earlier. A lot of these athletes today seem to be coming down with more and more injuries, muscle-related injuries. And a lot of times, the connective tissue, as you suggested, the ligaments, the tendons, that is not as strong as or proportionate to the development of some of these muscle tissues that people are building and being explosive. And so when you have a muscle tissue, and I'm not a doctor, so what I'm saying is neither here or there. No one should really take it seriously.
But did you stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night?
I did last night. You want to know something? I did. But what I'm suggesting is this: when you are developing, it's just common sense. When you're developing that muscle, and that muscle is still supported by what God gave you as a connective tissue, ligament, tendon, whatever you want to call it. And that connective tissue is not strong enough to support the exertion or the explosiveness or the power or the strength of that muscle. It's going to tear away from the bone, or it's going to tear away from the muscle. And that's where you're going to have a lot of serious injuries. I'm not suggesting this, but, never in my life did I remember in the 90s or so, or early 2000s, so many baseball injuries, torn this, tear that, everything else. And, it's also some things that happen even in football. And, what happens a lot of times, even if people are maybe taking some steroids, I heard that steroids may weaken some of the connective tissue. So if you're strengthening the muscle tissue and weakening the connective tissue, you're going to have a definite disproportionate situation where muscle is going to explode and rip the tendon or ligament or connective tissue.
Well, a great analogy for that is in I don't know, I guess construction terms. If you take a Luan door, which is like an interior door, and you have hinges, they come pre-hung or whatever, and they have the hinges and it's all set up for that, and you take that door out and put a solid steel, like a safe door, in that frame and screw them to the hinges that are designed for the Luan light-skinned door and start opening and closing, what you'll find is that those hinges will eventually fail and they will break. And those represent the tendons that we're talking about, and the door represents the muscle tissue that got too big for those tendons to open and close the door. It's the same thing around your knees and your arms and everything else. When that muscle gets too big, like you said, Sal, the natural tendon can't handle it no more.
Hey, what room did you stay in last night?
I think we were in the same hotel.
We were in the same Holiday Inn Express.
I tell you
You're
what,
an Einstein.
because I'm not a doctor either.
I love the analogy. You know me with analogies.
I tell you what,
I understood that.
Because I'm no doctor either. I don't even play one on the radio, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, But anyway, we better get to the emails. We got to quit. I'll tell you what we got to stop doing is giving them free publicity without them paying us. I mean, come on.
You got a point there.
Yeah, I just got you to stop doing it. Now I'm doing it. So, geez. But anyway, we got an email. First one's from my man, Jesse. Jesse says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. Hey, Billy, Eduardo Hernandez got another win on Saturday, but it was against a veteran fighter who didn't look too in shape. BoxRec has him at number 20. And he's referring to the computerized ranking in BoxRec. He has pretty good skills for his age, but still would not put him up against a top 15 fighter. Maybe him against Ryan Kizowski, Ivan Morales, Rene Alvarado, Jonathan Arellano, Jason Valise, Louis Franco, Yondale Evans, or Lamont, you dummy, Roach? Or is he too young and inexperienced versus those skilled fighters? This goes back to what we've been talking about. If the computer's going to rank you at a certain level, and you're ranked even higher than that by a sanctioned organization, it's time to fight the fights. This has been my point from day one, and I'm sure you agree with me, Sal. If a fighter doesn't get an opportunity to increase his level of opposition a little bit between, as they keep going with their fight, the progression of their fights and their records, they're never going to get better. And another analogy that I'll use is if you have a football team, and I know we have a lot of European viewers, but I'm talking about American football, NFL. If you have the best team, let's assume it's the New England Patriots, playing the worst team, let's assume my team, the Jets or the Cleveland Browns, and they play them for 16 weeks and they go undefeated at 16-0, are they truly the best team in football if they're constantly playing the worst? If a high school football team is playing a Pop Warner team and smacks the crap out of them every time, are they a good team? And my answer would be no. What do you think, Sal?
Well, great analogy again, you son of a gun. I can't believe it. You're pulling this stuff right out of the hat.
Someplace lower. Or someplace lower.
You're funny guy, you. I'll tell you what. This is a good analogy, and how good are you going to be revealed once you step up to somebody equal or superior? And that's the test that often fighters will come across, or a superior sports team will also endure and have to learn.
Yeah, you got to challenge yourself to get better.
Challenge yourself,
and if in a fight game, if they put you in and you barely squeak by, then you fight that same level again until you really dominate. Then it's time to move forward. In the fight game, you fight an opponent, especially, if you're with the right people, they're building you up. They put you in, they fight an opponent. You dominate, you move up. You get the next level up. If you don't dominate, but you get the win, and it's funny, in today's fight game, they'll say, oh, well, you need to fight a southpaw. You got to learn how to fight a southpaw. So they fight one. And he fought a southpaw. Now he knows how to fight southpaws. Next, it's like, no. Back in the day, to fight a southpaw meant you got to fight every style of a southpaw: a puncher, a boxer, a mover, a short guy, a not so a tall guy, a lanky guy, all different styles before you can say that you've mastered fighting a southpaw. And likewise, if you're a southpaw, you got to fight other southpaws. You can't always just fight righties. So
no.
The thing is that the progression of building up fighters today is detrimental to the fighter. It may be helpful career-wise and opportunity-wise, but Sal, how many times, and obviously, we can't put a number on it, but how many times have we seen a guy who goes into the ring, he steps into the ring with an impressive as hell record, 20, 25, 28 wins, no losses, 26 coming by knockout, he gets his shot, he's maneuvered into a title shot. He fights the champion and gets blown out of there. And then everybody says, oh, he was exposed. Well, he may have been exposed, but the truth of the matter is he was never given a chance to get better.
No. And as you said, being handled correctly from the get-go, from the amateur days, and getting that experience and learning to fight different styles, different fights, different things is all part of the old school. And, I'll tell you, and I'll be humbled by this fact. After I won the Golden Gloves or everything else, I had my first amateur defeat at the hands of this slick boxer. I couldn't believe this guy. I went in the ring, and his name was, I think, Wilfredo Marcano. And he was from Patterson. I went in the ring with this guy, and I was strong, I was solid, and I had decent skills at that point. But this guy ran around me, hit me. I didn't even see where he was, and he was shorter than me, about my height, and I couldn't believe what this guy was doing in 3 rounds. And I walked out of that ring and I said, boy, I can't believe this guy was phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. I went to school and I learned what style he possessed that I had needed to counter, how to cut off the ring, how to do this, how to do that, how to stay on my opponent, how to slip the punches, how to block this, how to counter. And 6 months later, I fought him, and I knocked him out because it was a fight that I had to, or they stopped it. It was a fight that I had to overcome and learn that style. I never faced that style before. And this guy was like fighting a Hector Camacho in a sense. And I said, maybe not Hector Camacho, but you know what I mean, that kind of style. And I said, wow, this guy's all over the place, and he's eating me up alive. But I learned that style. I learned how to overcome it. And that's what a lot of these young fighters today aren't given that opportunity, aren't going to school, aren't receiving the tutelage from the trainers the way that they used to do it in the old school. And I told you this many times. When I would learn something, the light would go off, and the trainer would say to me, hey, Sal, do me a favor. Just pass it on what you're learning. Pass it on to the future. Because those old school trainers, they had an insight to boxing. They knew that boxing was only going to continue and greatness was only going to be achieved if the old school and old training was going to be duplicated and passed on. And a lot of these things were not passed on. That's what we have today.
Now, well, like I always say, fighters don't fight, trainers don't train, promoters don't promote. Everybody looks for the easy way out. Even people don't even talk on the phone anymore; they text. But
no, you know how much I can't stand that. You could text all you want, but pick up a damn phone and call, and you'll get the answer right there. It's crazy.
But people don't want the interaction anymore. But anyway,
no, they don't. They don't. It's becoming an impersonal society. It's like no one wants to engage.
Exactly. Jesse says, "Hey Billy, I heard that Gerald Washington is facing Big Baby Miller and Charlo against Jorge Sebastian Hyland on the Mikey Garcia undercard. How do you like those bouts? Hyland has pretty good uppercut and straight left, but seems to be slow as a straight up stance. Hyland is just a sacrificial lamb for Charlo. I do like the Miller Washington fight. I think we talked about it earlier, but I think that that's going to be a pretty even fight. The winner advancing." He says, "Do you think Carlos Negron can make noise in the heavyweight division after his knockout of Derek Rossi?" I mean, Derek Rossi, I love the kid as a person, but, he's a journeyman type fighter. I use that term loosely. I don't mean to discredit him in any way, but, he's a tough out, so I give Negron credit for beating him. But, today's heavyweight, has to be 6'5" and bigger. They have to weigh 230, 240 pounds. It's just the nature of the heavyweight. You're not going to see a smaller guy, a guy who I love, Jennings, who just signed with Top Rank. He's conditioned. I've seen, especially at heavyweight. But he's, the Michael Spinks winning a world heavyweight title is not going to happen. And as much as Andre Ward is trying to smoke screen us and making it sound like he's going to be a heavyweight, it's never going to happen. Sal, I got an email directed to you. This is from Joel, and he says, "Hey Sal, will you be at the very least watching Pacquiao and Horn, or will you be too busy at the restaurant?"
Oh, no. We're going to have it on that TV. I could be tossing pies. I could be shaking hands with my customers. I could be doing everything. But you will bet, and I will make sure I will see every punch that's thrown in that fight. I'll be watching that.
He also wants to ask you, when you go to a summer holiday barbecue, do you bring pizza? Or do you like traditional hot dogs, hamburgers, etc.?
It's so funny. Thanks, Joel. I haven't been invited. I haven't had a barbecue in years. In fact, I don't know. I'm working all the time. I haven't been to a backyard barbecue. I'd like to. Maybe I'll have one this year.
We'll add that. We'll add that to our list of things. We'll have a Sal's barbecue.
We will. In fact, the last one I had was actually with my old girlfriend. We had one for her family. That was back in 2013.
Well, Joel says he loves hot dogs. He usually eats 4 at a sitting. Hey, Joel, that's nothing. You ever watch the Coney Island Nathan's hot dog contest? Oh my God, these guys! I watched one. I watched it last year. I think the guy ate like 75. You know, they suck him down.
And there's always this little guy.
I know. It's always.
They have a technique. They dip the dog in water.
No, they dip the roll.
Down your throat.
The roll.
I don't know
what
they do.
Oh, they dip the roll in water. They suck it down. And you're right. The little skinny guys, they always, when you get these big fat gagazolts and you're figuring, oh man, you know, the guy can throw down 9 pizzas, right? And he can only eat 30 hot dogs. You know, it's like 30 hot dogs. You know, holy jeez. You know, I mean, listen, there's nothing better than a hot dog cooked on a grill. But they are the worst thing for you. You might as well put a bullet in a gun and play roulette, you know, because they're so unhealthy for you. But I got to admit, I love having that in the summer. I try to limit it to maybe a hot dog or 2, throughout the summer. Maybe I'll have a little more than that. But they are good. There's no doubt.
Bill, they are very good, and but I ask myself, here again, I didn't stay at that Holiday Inn, but I'll ask myself, and I'll watch that competition once in a while, just in awe, like I can't believe this guy's eating 70 dogs or whatever. But I'm saying, how's his body assimilating all that sodium and all that stuff without him going into cardiac arrest or something? I don't understand it.
Yeah,
or having a stroke.
I got a long email, and this one's from. My man Mitch, and Mitch is always right on. So as much as I request people to keep their emails short, obviously Mitch, he says sorry for the long. I love the title. He writes, sorry for the long email. I don't have any excuses, but and then and then here comes the long email. But he says I got a lot to cover on this email. Billy C. Number 1, he's got them all broken down nice so we can comment. Number 1, he says, I can't believe that the Russian, he's referring to Sergey Kovalev. Yeah, that's the guy, Sergey Kovalev. He says, I can't believe the Russian is falling for this. He's actually considering the guy that you say is the number 1 trainer in the world. And he's referring to the comments that Virgil Hill, who I definitely don't, I think he's probably one of the worst trainers in the world, says he'll actually train Sergey Kovalev. And the quote from Kovalev is, Ward's trainer has offered to work with me. It's an interesting proposal. I asked my manager to find out if all of this was true and under what conditions. Will Ward remain at his current weight, as I've heard that he wants to move up? If me and him have the same trainer and we're both in the same weight division, then it doesn't make sense. But do I need a new trainer? I've already made a decision on this for myself. He says, no, he says, but I do need a new trainer. I already made this decision by myself. Mitch says, really, dude? The thing is I think Sergey Kovalev is making a huge mistake getting rid of John David Jackson. You can't blame John David Jackson for his lack of, whatever you want to call it, urgency.
Passion, fire,
urgency.
Anything that lights a spark.
Yeah, he fought with no urgency in the Ward fight. And as far as Ward moving up, Sal, what difference does it make? Ward is not going to fight Kovalev again. Ward is going to cherry pick or seek out. I shouldn't use the word cherry pick because Ward may seek out some bigger and better challenges. We'll have to wait and see on that. But he's already said that he's never going to fight Kovalev again. So if Kovalev did want to go with Virgil Hunter, Ward should not be part of his decision. But I think that what should be part of his decision is that he really looks at Virgil Hunter and makes an educated decision on if he really wants to go with this guy. I mean, to tell you the truth, a guy like Sergey Kovalev, he would be, and I hate to say this because I don't think that he's that great of a trainer either, but an aggressive, offensive-minded trainer like Freddie Roach might be the answer for Kovalev, or even pull him out of retirement. My man Kevin Rooney, he needs an aggressive style of a trainer, somebody that's going to capitalize on his strengths, which is aggression and punching power. But I think somewhere along the line, Sal, Kovalev has lost that. I think he's lost it.
I think he's lost that fire. I think he's lost a step. I think he's lost another thing. I just want to throw in the mix. You know who would be an ideal trainer? An ideal trainer for Kovalev, my old trainer, and I think he's retired too. And Holyfield's old trainer, Don Turner. Don Turner would be phenomenal for Kovalev.
Yeah, I think that I think he needs an aggressive, offensive-minded trainer. A lot of coaches mentioning in the chat room that rumors have it that Mark Breland might work with him. Yeah, Breland's not. I mean,
I'll work with him.
Well,
I'll fire him up.
Breland. Yeah, we don't need rah-rah men. Breland. Breland is a really good trainer. And we saw Breland at work with Deontay Wilder against when he fought Stavern. That was the best performance that Deontay Wilder had. Now, since then, we all know that Stavern was way overrated. We all overrated him, including myself. So, how much credit do we really give Wilder for beating him? But he fought a smart, disciplined game plan behind Mark Breland. But every other fight that Deontay Wilder has under Breland is aggression, goes for the knockout. Now, maybe that's because he knows he's fighting, stiffs in there, and I don't mean that disrespect because all the stiffs that he beats would knock me out. But, if you're pounding your chest saying you're the best heavyweight in the world and you're fighting stiffs, I don't know where you can come up with that. But the truth of the matter is I think a guy like Kovalev, if all of a sudden he wants to become a defensive fighter, I think mentally he's done.
Yeah, I think you're right because he's losing some of his steps in his arsenal there, and this guy's got to be aggressive. He's got to throw more punches. He's got to let his hands fly. He's got to do a lot of things. But I agree with you. I think he's lost a little fire. I think he's lost a little bit of that intent to want to go in there and hurt his opponent. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're both wrong. We'll see what he does. Like I said, a fighter's only as good as his last fight, and on his last performance, it didn't show me much fire in the belly.
No,
there was no. You said showed me his wind out of his belly.
You said it right. Right after the fight, you said he showed no sign of urgency throughout that fight, and that was the case. You were right. But hey, listen, let's take a short break. When I come back, we got the rest of Mitch's email, and we got some other stuff. So don't go nowhere. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now. or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And speaking about being with, I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And we're in the middle of reading an email from my man Mitch. And he says, second, I think the plan for Arum and De La Hoya is to knock Al Heyman out of business. Think about it. They both have ESPN deals. Arum's extends to ABC and Disney, and he writes boxing on Disney. Well, actually, just FYI, Disney owns ESPN, so it's the parent company, and that's why it's showing up as Disney. He says, I could see a robust competition between the two, battling each other on ESPN and ABC while doing what Heyman does, freezing his fighters out. However, I think this is a real deal and not time buys. I think Arum will play fair and matches guys with K2, Main Event, Golden Boy, Eddie Hearn, and even Premier Boxing fighters. He says, I think the end game is the fact that Pacquiao fights Horn on ESPN with Michael Conlon, Shane Mosley Jr., and other top-ranked guys on the card. Then he gives Shakur Stevenson his headlining show on ESPN. He also just signed Bryant Jennings, so don't be shocked if you see Jennings take on Luis Ortiz on ESPN or an Anthony Joshua on ABC when Joshua makes his American debut. The Lomachenko-Salido rematch is rumored to be heading to ESPN, and Terrence Crawford's title unification is also going to be on ESPN. Speaking of Crawford, something you mentioned the other day stuck with me. If Pacquiao wins and Crawford wins, that will be an ABC spectacular if they put it on free TV. After that, it becomes Top Rank versus Golden Boy, since they both have ESPN deals, and Top Rank versus The World. If Heyman doesn't play ball with them, that's fine. They now have free TV deals without time buys, and they can freeze him out. Golden Boy cards on ESPN have been good, and he has a list of prospects who are going to be exceptional in the next 2 to 5 years. Remember, you heard this first. Bryant Jennings' manager is a guy named James Prince. He brought Jennings to Top Rank. Shakur Stevenson's manager is named James Prince. He brought Stevenson to Top Rank. Andre Ward's manager, James Prince. Once Rock Nation bows out of boxing, guess where Andre Ward might wind up? According to Mitch, he says, I'm just saying. He says, lastly, on your show, you asked how McGregor has a chance to beat Mayweather. I think there are two ways. But before I read that, I just want you guys, I want you to understand, Mitch, that remember, ESPN is paying these guys. It's not a buy deal. They're not paying to put Manny Pacquiao and Jeff Horn on. They're not paying to put, a potential Crawford or Joshua on. So it's up to ESPN if they're willing to open up their pocketbooks. It does seem like they are for these high-profile fights, which is a good thing for us. He says here's two ways that he feels that McGregor has a chance to beat Mayweather. He says one involves the center of the ring. One involves when Floyd goes to the ropes like he does. I wish I could illustrate it, but I can't via an email. But maybe I'll make you a video. He says, in order to beat Floyd, you have to double jab him. You have to double jab the left arm of Floyd Mayweather. Once the second jab has touched the 90-degree angled left bent arm of Floyd, open the glove slightly. Is it cheating? Yes, but so what? Hold down Floyd's left arm a bit. This will cause him to lean back further, but throw his right hand down the pipe faster than he wants to. When he does this, his head follows the punch. By trapping his left arm to his torso, he has no defense, and you can shoot your right hand straight into his left ear, jaw, or cheek. Think Castillo. Zab Judah did it, and of course, this comes from the art of Wing Chun, Jun Fan trapping. Look it up. It works. Trust me on this one. But can you trust Conor to do it? The best way for Conor to beat Floyd, when they're in the center of the ring, Conor needs to feint often, but do the same feint with his left side of his body over and over and over. Once Conor realizes Floyd's figured him out and figured that pattern, Conor should feint as if he was going to do the same kind of MMA kick with his right leg, and as Floyd reacts to Conor's right, Conor should throw the biggest looping left. First of all, we talked about this. There is a stipulation in the contract that if Conor McGregor somehow kicks Floyd, I know, Sal, you were saying that you thought he should lose his mind for a second and drop a roundhouse on him.
Forget where he is.
But if he does do anything like that, he gets no money. So I think he's going to be consciously thinking of that, which is actually a pretty good mind game that Floyd's already got in place. Your thoughts here, Mitch, all sound good, but my thinking is, the middle of the ring, a tendency to. I think what's going to is Floyd will be able to, if he keeps it in the middle of the ring, meaning, and I don't think Floyd is going to be stationary at all, but I think by my definition, middle of the ring, it gives Floyd a much better chance to react to Conor McGregor's chasing him around. Conor McGregor, we've talked about this, I can't see Conor McGregor doing anything other than trying to chase him and catch him with a lucky shot. That's why Conor McGregor's only chance at winning this fight would happen in the first round or two. Once it gets past the second or third round, this is all Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather, like I said yesterday, Sal, is going to knock out Conor McGregor.
Bill, I share my sentiments with you 100% because the longer this fight goes, the more in favor of Floyd Mayweather. And I'll tell you what, if Conor McGregor has any chance in the world, it's going to be the first or second round, but he's got to jump. I agree. The center of the ring's not where Conor McGregor wants Floyd. He wants to run over to the other side of the corner before Floyd even gets out of the corner. And he wants to be a bully, manhandle him, wrestle him, do whatever he's got to do, get some warnings, and he's got to just take a free hand, block some of those punches as he's wading in, and just nail him and throw punches anywhere he can land. And that's it. It's not going to be a pretty fight. It's not going to be a great exhibition of boxing or anything other than what Mayweather's going to be. It's going to be a bull in a matador. Look like the superior matador.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a bull against Matador. And the thing is that I do agree with Mitch about Conor McGregor landing a Marcos Maidana style overhand right, because what Floyd does do is he has a tendency to go against the ropes or go into a corner, and the reason why he does that is because he's so effective counterpunching. But the other thing that he did, and he really did it a lot in the Marcos Maidana fight, was that he leaned back towards the ropes, leaning out of harm's way. So he's leaning against the ropes, and these crazy wild punches are just swinging past him. They're not reaching his head. That is where Conor McGregor needs to get Floyd Mayweather if he stands any kind of a chance. He needs to be a little better with distance control and land when Floyd is leaning his head back. Remember, Floyd is 40 years old, and this is a guy that thinks very highly of himself, and he's going into this fight extremely confident, just like we're just as confident as Floyd is, thinking that he's going to win. And traditionally in sports, a lot of times when everybody's given one side or an opponent or even a team no chance to win, that's when the upsets happen. I mean, do I need to remind you of Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas? I mean, one of the biggest upsets in sports history. If Conor beats Floyd, that will become the biggest upset in sports history. I'm sure there's many, many people that are buying the fight that want to see Floyd get knocked out by Conor McGregor. That's why I say to everyone, save your money on the fight and come on down to St. Simon's and watch it with us. Where would you rather be if Conor McGregor lands that lucky shot and knocks out Floyd Mayweather, other than hanging out with me? Because no one will be happier than me. And then, on the other hand, the most likely thing that's going to happen is Floyd's going to knock out McGregor. And where would you rather be saying, see, this is no challenge, Floyd is not the best, other than hanging out with us? Because we'll be saying, see, that's the way it is. So they all got to come, right, Sal?
Absolutely. I mean, you just made a scenario that's inevitable. I think it's perfect. And it fits all the doubters, all the people that want to see one way or the other.
one way or another.
One
bottom
way
line
or another
is you got to come down to St. Simon's on August 25th and 26th for the Billy C get together. We're going to do a lot of stuff. Maybe too much. Maybe you have to come down an extra day and hang with us. So we can do all of these things. We're going to try to get one of our boxing revisited shows recorded, at least one in front of a big screen for you guys to watch. And the infamous Jeremy C. will be there as well. So you guys get to meet the man behind a lot of stuff that goes on here at the Billy C. Boxing Empire. But Sal, on this day in boxing history, June 28th, in 1939, Joe Louis knocks out two-ton Tony Galento in the fourth round to retain his world heavyweight title, and that took place at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx on this day in 1939. And Tony Galento, he was criticized a lot for eating hot dogs, smoking cigars, drinking beer, similar to Babe Ruth. But I tell you what, he was a tough guy. Joe Louis made quick work of him, but he dropped Joe Louis in this fight. And the truth of the matter is I think Galento would have given any heavyweight out there today all kinds of problems, especially the champions, although he was kind of short. So
he was.
Yeah.
I met him. He used to come to the Golden Gloves, and I met two-ton Tony Galento. And right there, after one of my fights, he was down right by the ring, and he had a cigar in his hand, smoking away. And I met him, and we talked, and he was a character. Interesting. Later in life, I think he suffered from some ailments that eventually he succumbed to. But he was a good guy.
Yeah, no, Tony Galento was a character, owned a bar in New York, and was the typical bartender, that's for sure. On this day, June 28th in 1966, Ernie Terrell wins a 15-round decision over Doug Jones to win the WBA World Heavyweight title, and that took place in Houston, Texas. The title had been stripped from Muhammad Ali, so this is what started splitting up that heavyweight title. And the New York title was won by Joe Frazier, and then he would get the WBA title as well. On this day in 1971, Muhammad Ali wins a 4-year battle to overturn his 1967 conviction for draft evasion in an 8-0 vote by the U.S. Supreme Court. And that started Ali's comeback. And on this day, June 28th in 1997, Evander Holyfield retains his WBA World Heavyweight title when Mike Tyson was DQ'd after the third round for biting Evander's ear off in that fight that took place in Las Vegas. I was just talking about this fight the other day, Sal. And
I saw that.
I'll never forget the look on Mills Lane's face. He just couldn't believe it. I'll also never forget Mike Tyson spitting out the piece of ear and watching it slow motion on the replay, watching the piece of Evander's ear being spit out onto the ring, onto the canvas. And then the other thing that sticks in my mind is how Evander Holyfield jumped up and down after his ear, and how much that must have friggin' hurt this guy. And then to this day, although I've met Evander many times, and he's one of the nastiest guys you ever want to meet in person, but the truth of the matter is that, the one thing I've always admired about him, there's a lot of things I've admired about him, but the one thing about the ear is he refused to get plastic surgery. He feels that it's part of his character, and to this day, you can see a little Mike Tyson teeth marks on his ear. And I love.
I'll never forget. I was watching that on a network TV. It was on television, and might have been HBO, might have been something else. I don't know what network it was, but I watched it in my friend Michael's living room, and we watched that fight. And when that occurred, we looked at the TV in like astonishment, and we looked at each other. We said, "What the heck just happened?"
Yeah, no, that wasn't network television. That was that was a pay-per-view. But I will tell you this: Evander Holyfield with his ear. The funny thing was recently, and I say recently, the last year or two, Sal, they had that commercial. Remember the commercial where Mike Tyson knocks on the door and says, "Here, Evander," and he's got a box. He goes, "I'm returning your ear." Did you ever see that commercial?
No,
I think it was a sneaker commercial or something. He's knocking on the door, and he's got a box. He goes, "Here, I'm returning your ear. I'm trying to make good on everything." You know, it was great. It was great. I'm pretty sure it was some
I can't believe it. I want to see that.
Oh yeah, it was some kind of sneaker commercial, I think. But really funny, really funny. But
that's great.
Anyway,
Great.
hey, listen, man.
Oh, man.
Make sure you guys don't forget to our schedule this week. We are going to be here tomorrow, but we are off on Friday. But we are going to be here all week next week, including 4th of July. So our day off will be Friday, but we will be here tomorrow. So today's show is over, so I will tell you this. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.
That's my cue.